Hi everyone. So today I want to talk about emotions that feel out of control. We all have them. Whether it's anger, whether it's, feeling defensive in certain situations or just getting hypersensitive as well. We all have emotions and situations that we wish we could handle differently. Now, here's the thing. These emotions that are out of control are a little bit like a marathon. I'm thinking about a marathon because I'm not a runner and it seems like this humongous task, right? If I were to decide to run a marathon, which is not anytime soon, I think, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't just show up on the day and hope that I complete the marathon. And if I told anyone that that was my plan, but like, Fidela, you need to get a reality check. Start practicing, start training for it, get some advice from people who have done it, who are really good at it, or, go read some articles, use Google. Don't just show up there. You're just going to injure yourself, and you're probably not going to make it anyway, right? So out of control emotions are like that. Yet we're aware of a lot of them and we just still show up without any sort of plan on how to handle them when they do happen. It's always a matter of, for me anyway, it used to be that way. It would happen, I'm like, oh no, like I did it again. I'm embarrassed. I wish I hadn't said that. And then you're apologizing and, or you're not apologizing. You're just sitting there in your shame, in your silence, feeling more insecure and unworthy as ever. I've been in the apologies, I've been in the shame, I've done it all, okay? So the first step is to recognize what are the emotions. For me, one of them is probably anger. So when I feel angry, like if someone has crossed my boundaries, my natural instinct is to just go very silent and then just walk away. Now, you can imagine that walking away or being silent is not really giving any information to the person in front of me as to what they have done or that they crossed the line that they shouldn't have crossed. But that's my natural instinct. So I've had to work very hard on that because sometimes, I would just cut off people when I was younger and they would have no idea why I did that. Cutting off people didn't solve anything, because I was still left with resentment. They probably also had resentment. It didn't solve anything. The other thing as well is defensiveness. So in the past, especially in a romantic relationship, if someone said that they were unhappy about X or that they felt, that they felt like they were missing something, I automatically assumed it was my fault, okay? And obviously there is no such thing as fault. If someone is feeling a certain way, they're entitled to feel that way. It's their feelings, like no one is making them feel that way. But by being defensive, it robbed me from the opportunity of getting curious, from investigating what was going on or just finding out, maybe not investigating, but just trying to understand what the other person was going through. But because I thought it was surely because I did something wrong, then I was just like, okay, cool. All right. Okay. Right. Or I would just be like, well, clearly it's not working. So that would be my default reaction. So you can see how that would be problematic, right? So my first invitation for you is to identify those emotions that feel out of control. And then I want you to think about it almost as if you had a best friend who you know very well, like, because they're just like you. Happy coincidence. And you want to think about what advice you would give them in that situation. So if I were to look at the younger Fidela, the 21-year-old, 22-year-old, I would tell her, take a beat, which means leave some time between the moment you receive the information and the moment you respond. Because for me, and for most people really, the longer I leave between the triggering or difficult situation and the response, the more regulated I am, the more, emotionally intelligent I can be. So I just know that, I just need a little bit of time, and it doesn't have to be hours. Sometimes it's just a few minutes. 15 minutes can do the trick for me. So, but you need to figure out what that is for you. Maybe it's talking to someone else about the situation before responding. Maybe it's sitting down and doing some deep breath. And again, like with the example of the marathon, if you're not practicing deep breathing on a regular basis, if you're not, if you find that meditation really helps you be grounded and more, moderate and more chilled about life in general, then you don't want to wait until you're activated to suddenly be like, oh, maybe I'll go meditate. You want to have those resources. You want to have rehearsed them. You want to have, practiced them so much that you can tap into them when you need them without any real effort. Now, for me, the deep breath is definitely something that I naturally start to do without realizing. And I'm also teaching that to my daughter. And sometimes, when she sees me getting a little, activated, she's like, Mama, deep breathe, deep breathe. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I will breathe deeply. Thank you. So yeah, that's my advice. Identify your out of control emotions, the ones that are like very cringy that you're not proud of. Maybe it's a situation, maybe it's people. And I want you to give yourself advice the same way you would to someone you know very well, that you know like yourself, and start practicing those before they happen. So get your reps in, get your practice in, so that when you are on D-Day, you can have a reaction that maybe you're not necessarily proud of, like as in you're not like, wow, I was amazing, but so that you can have a reaction that at least won't make you feel like, oh my goodness, like why did I do that? How can I take it back? And what sort of consequences did this have? You just want to have, this sort of like, okay, I think I handled that okay. It wasn't amazing, maybe it was, but at least you can say, yeah, that was all right. No damage. I've done no harm. I've done no damage. So that's it for today. I hope this was useful, and I will catch you very soon on another training.